When the bucket came up with water, Ethan noticed something. There was no water in the bucket. But there was something. Hair strands, long, black, wet, and a blood-red piece of cloth. Ethan looked into the well, and from the darkness, 2 eyes looked back at him. "Please," the voice whispered. "Get me out of here, but don't tell the sheriff." Ethan Cross had just arrived in Broken Ridge. He was 35 years old, but looked 40. The war had aged him, then the factory accident. He'd lost 2 fingers on his left hand. He couldn't go back east. There were only memories there. Bad memories. So he'd come west. He'd bought a cheap ranch, 2 acres of land, an old cabin, a barn, and a well. The seller had said the well was dry. "But if it rains, it fills up," he'd said. "Try your luck." Ethan tried his luck. The first night he arrived at the ranch, he was exhausted. He carried his belongings into the cabin, set up his bed, lit a fire. But he needed water. The nearest stream was 3 miles away. The well was closer. When morning came, Ethan went to the well. A stone well, very old, covered with moss around the edges. There was no cover on top, just an open hole. Dark, deep, silent. Ethan took the rope. He tied a bucket to the end, and he lowered it into the well. The rope went down, 10 feet, 20, 30. Finally it stopped. It had hit something. Ethan pulled. The bucket was heavy. Maybe it had filled with water. But when it came up, what he saw shocked him. There was no water in the bucket. But there was something. Hair strands, long, black, wet, covered in blood, and a red piece of cloth, torn, old, rotted. Ethan stepped back. His heart was racing. What did this mean? What was at the bottom of the well? Slowly, he leaned over the edge of the well. He looked inside. Darkness, only darkness, but then a sound. Faint, hoarse, but a human voice. "Please." Ethan froze. "Who's there?" he shouted. "Please, get me out of here." The voice was a woman's, and it was coming from the bottom of the well. "How did you fall down there? Wait, I'll call for help." "No!" The voice suddenly sharpened. "Don't tell the sheriff." "Please, he's the one who put me here." Ethan's blood ran cold. "The sheriff? That couldn't be possible." "Who are you?" "My name is Kiona. I've been here for 3 years. Please, get me out." 3 years, at the bottom of a well, chained. Ethan shook his head. "Wait, I'll get you out." Ethan ran to the cabin. He grabbed the rope, the longest rope. Then he took a lantern and went back. He stood at the well's edge. He lowered the rope. "Grab the rope. I'll pull you up." There was silence. Then he felt the rope tighten. Someone was holding it. Ethan began to pull. It was heavy, very heavy, as if he wasn't just pulling a person, but a weight. His hands burned. His back ached, but he didn't stop. 10 minutes later, something appeared at the end of the rope. Hands, women's hands, dirty, bleeding, chained. Ethan pulled faster, and finally, a head emerged, long black hair, then a face, young, 25, 26, Apache. Her face was covered with dust and blood. Her eyes were half open. Her lips were cracked. Ethan pulled her to the well's edge, and he saw. There were chains on her feet, heavy iron chains. At the end of the chain was a large stone, still at the bottom of the well. Ethan cut the chain. He laid the woman on the ground. She was breathing, but with difficulty. "You're real," the woman whispered. "Yes, I'm real. You're safe." The woman began to cry, silently. Tears streamed down her dirty face. Ethan carried the woman to the cabin. He laid her on the bed. He cleaned her face with water. He gave her food. The woman was hungry, very hungry. For 3 years she'd only drunk rainwater and eaten whatever fell into the well. Insects, mice, everything. Hours passed. The woman slept. Ethan watched. Who was this woman? And why had the sheriff thrown her into the well? When evening came, the woman woke up. She opened her eyes. She looked at Ethan. "Thank you," she said. "It's nothing. But you need to tell me what happened." The woman took a deep breath. "My name is Kiona. 3 years ago I came to this town. I was looking for my family. My Apache tribe had been scattered. Everyone had gone to different places. They told me my family had come here." "Did you find them?" "No, because the sheriff had killed them." Ethan froze. "What?" "Sheriff Dalton Cole. He's an Apache hater. He's been killing Apaches for years, but not according to the law, secretly. When I found my family, they were already dead. The sheriff had poisoned them and thrown their bodies into the well." "Which well?" Kiona looked at Ethan. There was deep pain in her eyes. "Your well." Ethan stepped back. "My well?" "Yes. This ranch used to belong to the sheriff. He used it. He'd kill people, throw the bodies in the well. No one would know, because no one came to this ranch. They said it was cursed." "So how did you end up down there?" "I didn't fall. The sheriff threw me in because I learned the truth about my family, and I was going to talk, but he caught me. He chained my feet and threw me in the well. He said, 'You'll rot with your family.'" Ethan stood up. His hands were shaking. 3 years. You stayed down there for 3 years?" "Yes. The chain was too heavy. I couldn't get out. I just waited to die. But I didn't die, because I had to get revenge." Ethan looked out the window. The sun was setting, and in the distance a dust cloud was visible. Someone was coming. "Someone's coming," he said. Kiona stood up. She was weak, but her eyes had sharpened. "The sheriff. He's here." "How does he know?" "Because he checks every week, the well, to make sure that no one's found me." Ethan grabbed his rifle. "Hide. I'll talk to him." Kiona shook her head. "No, you can't talk to him. He'll kill you if he realizes you saw me." "So what do we do?" Kiona looked at Ethan. There was cold determination in her eyes. "We're going to kill him." Sheriff Dalton Cole dismounted from his horse. He was a tall man, broad-shouldered, about 45 years old. His face was hard, his eyes cold. The star badge gleamed on his chest. He approached the cabin. He knocked on the door. Ethan opened it. "Hello, Sheriff." "Hello. Are you the new owner?" "Yes, my name is Ethan Cross." "Dalton Cole, Sheriff?" The man extended his hand. Ethan shook it. The sheriff's hand was cold. "Welcome, Ethan. I hope you like it here." "Yes, it's a quiet place." The sheriff smiled, but his smile seemed fake. "Yes? Quiet? Very quiet? Sometimes too quiet." His eyes scanned inside the cabin. "Are you alone?" "Yes. Why do you ask?" "Just curious. This is a good place for lonely people. But sometimes lonely people see strange things, hear voices. You understand?" Ethan nodded. "I don't understand." The sheriff looked at him more closely. "Did you use the well?" "Yes, this morning." "Did you find water?" Ethan hesitated. "No, it's dry." The sheriff nodded. "Good. That well shouldn't be used because it's dirty, old, dangerous. If you pull anything out of there, tell me, okay?" "Okay," the sheriff smiled. "Good. Then goodbye, Ethan. We'll see each other soon." And he left. Ethan closed the door. Kiona emerged from the shadows. "Did you hear?" Ethan said. "Yes, he knows, he suspects. He'll come back soon, and this time, he'll kill you too." That night, Ethan and Kiona made a plan. They would trap the sheriff. But how? "He has a weakness," Kiona said. "He's greedy. He wants to control everything. If you show him a threat, he'll come." "What kind of threat?" "That I'm alive, and I'm going to talk." Ethan shook his head. "But if we show you to him, he'll kill you." "No, because I'll be ready." Kiona pulled out her knife, long, sharp, old. "This was my father's knife. It stayed with me in the well for 3 years. And now it's time for revenge." The next morning, Ethan went to town, straight to the sheriff's office. He went inside. The sheriff was sitting at his desk. "Ethan, good to see you again. Is there a problem?" "Yes, I found something in the well." The sheriff's face tensed. "What did you find?" "Chains and bones." The sheriff stood up. "Bones?" "Yes, human bones. And one more thing." Ethan pulled out a piece of cloth, red, torn. This was there too. The sheriff took the cloth. He held it in his hand. His face went pale. Where did you find this?" "In the well, like I said." The sheriff looked at Ethan. His eyes were narrow and threatening. "Ethan, you're not going to look in that well again. Understand? It's dirty, dangerous, leave it alone." "But there are bones. People have a right." "They have no right!" The sheriff slammed his fist on the desk. "That well is going to be closed. Today. I'll close it. You stay out of it." Ethan stepped back. "Okay, Sheriff. Whatever you say." But as he left, he looked back, and he saw fear on the sheriff's face. That evening, the sheriff came to the ranch, but this time he wasn't alone. He'd brought 2 more men, armed, tough-looking. Ethan waited at the door. "Sheriff, welcome." "Ethan, I came to close the well, to keep you safe." "Thank you." The sheriff and his men went to the well. They brought large stones. They began to cover the well's opening. But at that moment, a sound came from the cabin, a woman's voice. She was singing, in Apache, a strange, mournful, old melody. The sheriff froze. "That voice, where's it coming from?" Ethan shrugged. "I don't know, maybe the wind." But the sheriff didn't believe it. He walked to the cabin, he pushed the door open, he went inside. And he saw her, Kiona. She was sitting by the window, singing. Her eyes were closed. The sheriff stumbled backward. No, you should be dead." Kiona opened her eyes, and she looked at the sheriff. "But I'm not dead." The sheriff drew his gun. "I'll kill you again." But at that moment, Ethan came from behind. He hit the sheriff on the head with his rifle. The sheriff collapsed to the floor. The 2 men outside heard the sounds. They rushed inside, but Kiona was ready. She wounded the first with her knife. Ethan knocked down the second. Within minutes, all 3 were lying on the floor, wounded, but alive. Kiona leaned over the sheriff. 3 years I waited at the bottom of that well, and now you'll wait too." The sheriff screamed. "You can't kill me, I'm the sheriff." "No," Kiona said, "you're a murderer, and murderers pay for their crimes." 2 weeks later, the federal marshal came to Broken Ridge. Ethan and Kiona testified. The bones from the well were examined. 21 bodies were found, all Apache. Sheriff Dalton Cole was arrested, he was tried, and he was hanged. The town apologized, but Kiona didn't forgive them because they had known and they had stayed silent. Ethan and Kiona stayed at the ranch. They closed the well. They erected a monument over it. 21 names, 21 lives. They were no longer forgotten. One evening, as the sun set, Ethan and Kiona sat on the porch. "What will you do now?" Ethan asked. "I don't know, but I want to stay here, if you want me to." Ethan smiled. "I want you to." And that night, the old well was no longer cursed. It was just a silent monument to the past. And 2 people had found each other in the depths of darkness. In the Wild West, they say some wells carry water, some carry secrets, and some carry justice. Ethan's well carried all 3. Thank you for being here. If this story stirred something in you, memories of old days, dusty evenings, and the sound of hooves, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So every day we can meet again, and I'll tell you another story from the Wild West. What did this story make you feel? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed it, type 1. And don't forget to subscribe for the next gripping tale. I love you all, listeners of Wild West Daily. Stay healthy and happy.